I am only 3 books away from finishing my Goodreads goal this year of 120 books. Hi all, it's me Allison. Welcome back to my channel. In this vlog, I am quite literally sprinting to the finish line. I will finish my Goodreads goal by the end of this vlog. This week, I am challenging myself to finish the 3 remaining books that I have in my Goodreads goal, and I think I can do it. A little backstory. At the beginning of this year, I set a reading goal of 85 books. I genuinely hit the 85 book mark so early in the year. I think it might have been June or July. Like, it was so early that I bumped up my reading goal to 120 because at the end of last year, that is the total amount of books that I read, and I felt like I could probably do it again. And now, as we're approaching the end of the year, I only have 3 left in order to reach that goal. In the spirit of taking down my TBR, I figured I would pick 3 books that I have had downloaded on my Kindle all year and have yet to pick up. So here are the books that are on the docket to potentially read to finish my goal. Number 1 is You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hoggle. So I got this book earlier this year around my birthday in May, and I kept telling myself I was going to pick it up specifically because it's being made into a movie. And I just haven't yet, but I know that it will probably be really good. I've seen really good reviews. It's just a cozy second chance romance, I'm pretty sure. And I feel like that would be an easy read for me to get through pretty quickly. The next book that I have had downloaded actually from Kindle Unlimited is Aftermath by M.K. Ahern. This book was marketed as, if you like Criminal Minds, this is the book for you. I do love an FBI moment for some reason, as well as a cold case that we're trying to solve. And this book in particular, I think would really scratch that itch. I feel like it's been neglected long enough, and I do need to pick it up. The next contender is not necessarily something that I have downloaded on my Kindle, but I do have the physical copy of it, which is Second Chance Cinema by Thea Weiss. My coworker gave me this book because Book of the Month actually sent her 2. So she was able to gift me this free book, which is so sweet of her. I'm so thankful. This book is less than 300 pages. That is 50% of why I'm thinking that this will be read in this video, because it's so short. But also, my coworker never recommends books. We do not have the same taste, and she read this and was like, "You're gonna love this." Okay, so after I did some soul searching and looked through my options, I think I'm gonna start with Aftermath, the Criminal Minds inspired romance, if you will. For some reason, I'm just kind of in the mood for something pretty serious and suspenseful, but also I love an FBI romance for some reason. I think I'm gonna start Aftermath, and I will hopefully finish it pretty quickly. So let's see.
Mimi, stop being so mean. Stop being so mean.
Okay, so I wanted to do a tad update. I'm not that far in. I'm only 9% into Aftermath, but I have to say, I have a feeling this is going to be really good. So in the beginning, we are introduced to our male main character, Beck. I'm pretty sure is his name. They also call him Agent Stone, and his chapters are also labeled under the name Stone, but I'm pretty sure his name is Beck. We're introduced to Beck/Stone, and he is basically teaching the newest generation of recruits into the FBI. And we're kind of picking up that he also is just a really big name in the Bureau. But there was something that happened, a case, an incident, something in which he decided he no longer wants to be a field agent. Obviously, I'm already intrigued because I need to know the backstory. I have to know what happened. He obviously blames himself for whatever the situation is. And it is confirmed that somebody, an agent of some sort, has died. Because he's refusing to go back into the field, he is given a lot of paperwork and just grunt work that no one really wants to do. For example, going through the tips from citizens, which is a pretty mindless task in his opinion, but he does come across about 4 or 5 tips about this cold case about a serial killer on the coast. Up until this point, he hasn't even felt a spark or even need to feel like he needs to go back into investigating in the field. But for some reason, these tips are very intriguing to him, and he cannot get them out of his mind. He immediately takes vacation and decides, I'm going to follow this case. And now we are introduced to our female main character, Lenore, who also goes by Lenny. Don't know how I feel about that. It seems as if she got a job at this museum that has records that are not necessarily available to the public, but now that she has access to them, she's doing her own personal research on this serial killer. I have a theory. It was mentioned that the last victim of the coastal killer did escape and was never seen again. And I just have a feeling that our Lenny/Lenore is either related to the victim or she is the victim. So far, I am intrigued. I do love a suspense and I do love a mystery. So I'm excited to dive more into this, but I did want to give you guys a slight update on how I'm feeling. So it's actually been almost a week since I first started this book. Unfortunately, I do think that a slump is approaching at full speed. I have no motivation to pick up my Kindle, and it has nothing to do with the book. The book so far has been mildly interesting, and I just feel like I have so many other things that I'd rather be doing than finish my Goodreads goal for some reason. So I have been really clunking along trying to at least get to 50%. Right now, I'm about 41% into Aftermath, and I wanted to give you guys some updates. Number one, his name is not Beck, nor is it Stone. His full government name is Winston Beck. For some reason, everybody calls him Beck, and I think Stone might be a nickname given to him from the FBI, even though his name is Winston Beck. So that really confused me for a little bit. We were not told that his name was Winston until 25% in after being in his POV multiple times. So that was sweet. I'm glad that we got that clarity. When we last spoke, I talked about how Agent Beck was going to the scene of the crime, basically where this serial killer, did his duties, right? He is now teaming up with our female main character, Lynn, aka Lenore, aka Lenny. They are teaming up to try and solve this case. Because she's been so invested in working on this case, she did attract the attention of a stalker, most likely the serial killer they are pursuing. I don't want to say that this book is bad because it's not. It's just like taking a little bit longer than I was expecting to kind of get into the big plot. I'm hoping for some like actual real drama soon, aka like maybe she gets hurt, maybe there's more of an action other than she gets told to stay away from a note. Okay, sue me, I love drama. Sue me. Guys, I officially finished Aftermath, and I have to say this book was really boring. While I felt like this book had a pretty good premise, to market it as an equivalent to a Criminal Minds storyline, it was so bland. Everything was so straightforward. It was pretty predictable. The romance was very bleak. I did semi-enjoy myself and reading this book, but unfortunately, maybe I had higher expectations than I should have, considering it was supposed to be a Criminal Minds inspired book, and it was basically just so predictable that I guessed the killer from chapter 1. Now that I finished that, we have 2 more books until I finish my Goodreads goal. And I think I'm going to start, I think I'm going to start You Deserve Each Other by Sarah Hoggle, because I felt like Aftermath was so slow and it took me so long to get through it. This book feels like it has the potential to be a really quick and easy and entertaining read that I can probably get through quicker, even though it's more pages than that book was. The premise of this book is Naomi and Nicholas are engaged, but they actually cannot stand each other. And they're basically at a standstill. Both of them are trying to make the other one crack and break up so that they do not have to pay for the non-refundable wedding. This girl just said that she only loves her fiance 40%. If that does not set up perfectly the hateful rival that these two are about to go through, I genuinely don't know what else. Hello, am I dumb, or is that how you actually spell DJ? Like, is it not just DJ? I've never seen it spelled like this. Someone needs to let me know. I feel stupid if that's the actual spelling on how to spell DJ. That's crazy. I'm just gonna say this. I am about that much into You Deserve Each Other, and I feel like this is the first either second chance or like enemies to lovers type book where I can physically feel their disdain for each other. I seriously haven't felt any type of tension, love, affection, nothing. So the fact that this much of the book is just them throwing heinous insults at each other, making each other completely and extremely uncomfortable, and pulling the most ridiculous tricks on each other, I am fully entertained, but I can't tell if I like it or not. At first, you're under the impression that she's the only one who's feeling cold feet, if you will, and feeling like their relationship is just not where it should be. And then you get clued in that he actually has been feeling the same way without him actually saying it. But now she is in her head thinking that they're at war with each other, trying to see which one will crack first. Guys, some of the things that this man has said has physically hurt my feelings. She is so ready to be done with him. This is actually insane. Like, I don't know how she is going to write these two falling back in love. I think that's why I'm so confused on whether I like it or not, because I can't see a future in which these two are finally back together and love each other. Like, I'm telling you, there is not a single shred of affection between these two. It is crazy, but honestly kind of refreshing. I feel like there are sometimes when you read an enemies to love or a second chance romance in which like it's blatantly obvious that both of them love each other so much and they are just like getting in their own way, but this one is like they really do hate each other. I have no faith in these two. None. I spent the entire weekend finishing this book, and let me tell you, it was nothing like I expected. I went into this thinking this was going to fully just be a cozy second chance romance that makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside. No, that was not the case. I would say I have pretty mixed feelings about this book after I finished. For the majority of this book, and by majority I mean literally until 65%, they are at each other's throats, like genuinely saying and doing the most heinous things to get each other to break or be the one to surrender, if you will. And then you kind of find out that that surrendering and this game that they're playing is only one-sided. While getting to watch these two fall in love again was a sweet experience, I just feel like there were some things said between them in the middle of their fighting that felt unforgivable in my opinion. I think that if a man were to say the things that he was saying to her to me, I would never be able to recover. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I was actually so starved to finish this book because I just did not know where it was going. I really do think that this book was completely unpredictable, and I'm still a little confused about some of the details. I feel like because we were in Naomi's head for the entirety of this book, we missed out on so many important details in Nicholas's brain. And I don't feel like that those were properly communicated to Naomi and to the reader by the end of it. I feel like this book really needed a dramatic love confession from Nicholas, because the entire time she's under the impression that he cannot stand her and doesn't want to marry her anymore. At the end, we obviously find out that that is just not the case, but I feel like he could have explained himself better and kind of went into more of like why they separated and were so distant from each other for so long. But now we finished that. We will be on my last book, the book that will solidify 120 for my Goodreads goal this year, The Second Chance Cinema. I feel like this book has a pretty unique concept. We are following Ellie and Drake as they are newly engaged. They stumble upon this theater, and when they go in, the memories of their relationship is being played on the screen, and they're kind of forced to face their past. This book is pretty short. We're only doing 306 pages, so I feel like I can get this one done pretty quickly and finally meet my goal. I am so close. I can see the light at the end of the freaking tunnel. So let's dive into the Second Chance Cinema. I officially finished the Second Chance Cinema, and I have to say I was pleasantly surprised. When I first started this book, I was a little hesitant because it's all in third person, and I don't necessarily love third person. I feel like when books are written in third person, sometimes you can feel really like detached from the characters, and so that was kind of how I was feeling in the beginning of this, and the beginning was a little boring because we were just going through like everyday monotonous life. But as soon as I discovered the magical movie theater that is literally playing memories from their past before they were even together. So each time they would go to the theater, a new secret revelation, whatever, was revealed. And that obviously caused a lot of fights, some drama, but they were obviously able to overcome it. And I think that was kind of like the best point of this. And honestly, even though there were some things that were revealed in the theater that were a little hard to swallow, I feel like these two were able to address every issue that they had in a very mature way. And it just showed just how healthy their relationship is and how much they are actually meant to be together, which was kind of one of the looming questions between both of them as they started to dive into each other's past. Like, are they meant to be together? And I feel like the theater gave them the clarity they needed to know that yes, like they are meant to be married and they should be together. So yeah, I really enjoyed this book actually. And with that, I am going to mark it on my Goodreads, and we are going to finish our goal officially. Completed my Goodreads goal, 120. Wait, I just love that they do the confetti. That's so fun. Honestly, kind of feel like a relief was just like lifted off of my shoulders. Not that like reading is a burden by any means, but the fact that I finished this so early, I just feel like I have the capacity to like reread whatever I want, because I do put a little bit of pressure on myself and I don't let myself reread books a lot while I'm trying to meet a new Goodreads goal, because I feel like it's kind of cheating considering I've read it already. You can't understand how excited I am to dive right back into the Windy City series once again. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming along with me as I finish my Goodreads goal for 2025. I am so excited for the new year. There are so many really good releases that are coming out that I am highly anticipating, and I feel like next year will be a really good year for reading. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe. If you don't mind, I'll leave social media links down below. I have Instagram, I have TikTok, I have Goodreads. Clearly, I have a podcast, so be sure to check out those links. And with that, bye guys.